Yo guys, what's up? It's Sabres fan. I am back. Took a little bit of a break after the draft and let free agency play out and everything. We got the fresh new Taylor Hall sweatshirt, Hall or nothing, baby. Obviously, if you don't know, Taylor Hall, Buffalo Sabres. I'm still shocked on that. So today, I'm just gonna go over my predictions for next year. Don't have points, don't have like wins, none of that because I don't know how long the season's gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen all with COVID, and the season obviously is gonna be shorter. So I couldn't really put a points prediction on each team or a win total or whatnot. But I did order them in each division based off of their one to 8 on their spots, how I think they'll do, and I do kind of want to talk a little bit about what each team added and why I feel they're going to end up where they do in the standings. So I'm going to start off in the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to start off in the Atlantic Division. Buffalo Sabres is my team, and I think it's a pretty obvious coming in at number 8. It's going to be Detroit. I don't even know what's happening there. You signed Thomas Greiss. That's going to solve your problems and get you to the playoffs. So Bobby Ryan, that's a really big addition right there. Okay, re-signing Mantha. Bertuzzi still has arbitration to go through. But Detroit is nowhere near a playoff berth, let alone anywhere below or anywhere higher than 8. Detroit is just, they're going to be bad. And it's obvious. Not a single person is going to predict Detroit to do well. Number 7, this might be a little controversial, but I have Ottawa coming in at number 7, and they're a very improved team. Dadonov, Galchenyuk, obviously Matt Murray, Tim Stutzel coming in there at their number 3 pick, Jake Sanderson as well. They really improved their team, but for me, they're still too young. They still have Thomas Chabot, obviously. They don't have enough. They have enough, but they're too young, and I don't think that Matt Murray is just going to push them over the edge. It's a great step in the right direction. Ottawa is on a very good path. And this rebuild has been very solid for them since they got eliminated to Pittsburgh and they were 1 goal away from a cup final a few years ago. But for me, they're a little bit too young. They need to get experienced. I could see Ottawa being a very dangerous team 2 or 3 years down the road when you have guys like Stutzel with some experience. You guys have guys like Jake Sanderson stepping in, Eric Brandstrom coming in, Thomas Chabot. This team could be really, really, really scary in 2 or 3 years. But for now, I think they're going to learn. They're in that learning stage, coming into this year. And for Ottawa, very improved, but they're not there yet. And watch out for the Senators in 2 to 3 years. Number 6, I'm sure a lot of people are expecting my Sabres, but that's not who I have here. I have the Florida Panthers. And I feel like every year I'm expecting Florida to take the next step. I'm expecting them to turn the corner and make the playoffs and win a playoff series. But after that play-in round of the Islanders this year, Florida, they can never get over that hump. Okay, Barkov, Huberdeau, Ekblad, they have a good team. Sergei Bobrovsky needs a huge bounce-back season this year if Florida's doing anything this year. Losing Dadonov is going to be a huge, blow to that top 6. But, yeah, so for me, Florida, unless they take that step, which we've been waiting for how long now, I don't see them finishing any higher than 6th in the Atlantic Division this year. Number 5, this is another interesting pick here. I have the Montreal Canadiens in at number 5. Montreal obviously shocked Pittsburgh in the play-in round. They played pretty well against Philadelphia as well, but a huge part of that was Carey Price. They relied on Carey Price. I don't like the Canadiens' offense. That is my main problem with Montreal is their offense. Can they score enough goals? Carey Price is obviously elite. We all know that. We've seen it. He's not the most consistent when it comes to that as well. So if Carey Price is really good and Montreal's offense can click, like Nick Suzuki, fantastic play-in, playoffs this year. Really, really good piece for them. Trading Max Domi for Josh Anderson, I get it. I get why it happened. Domi probably wasn't going to stay with the Canadiens, but I like a Max Domi better than a Josh Anderson, and I think Columbus ends up winning that trade. So for me, Montreal, offensively, I need more. Like, can Jonathan Drouin actually be Jonathan Drouin that we expected him to be when he got traded for Sergachev? I don't know. For Montreal, like, you still got Shea Weber, like, Jeff Petry's back there, but they are strongly relying on Carey Price. And if Carey Price is not elite, like the best goalie in the league, Montreal's not making the playoffs this year, especially with it probably not being another 24 team making the playoffs with COVID. It's going to go back to 16. I don't see Montreal making the playoffs next year. Number 4, definitely controversial. Probably some bias in here. I have the Buffalo Sabres coming in here in at number 4 in the Atlantic. They're a very improved team. Taylor Hall changes things dramatically in that top 6. You have Hall, you have Eichel, you have Olofsson. You trade for Eric Stahl, a really good 2C. You sign Cody Eakin to be your third-line center. So, for me, the question with Buffalo, like, can the defense get it done? You still have Rasmus Dahlin. Yoki Haru played really good last year. Re-signed him on tour. Ristolainen's still a huge question mark. I have no idea what's going to happen with him. Is he getting traded? Is he staying? Anyone's guess. Re-signing Ullmark. I like Ullmark, but I don't know if he's enough to get Buffalo to the playoffs, get them over that hump. I think they're a very improved team, all off of one signing, and that's Taylor Hall right here, rocking the hoodie. I love it. But it's not going to be enough to make the playoffs. You're going to finish 4th in the Atlantic, but if that's a hint, that means 2 teams from the Metro will get wildcard spots and not anybody from the Atlantic. So Buffalo coming in at 4. I could see it happening, an improved team, but they're still not there. And I hate to say that. Like, that'll be, 10, 11 years? I'm a Sabres fan. I can remember the last time we've made the playoffs. It's ridiculous. So Buffalo comes in at 4. Still good. Not enough. Coming in at number 3 in the Atlantic, we got Boston. And for Boston, they lose Torrey Krug. That's a big piece. But Boston still got enough. Boston is very talented up front. Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand, DeBrusque. Go down the list. Boston is still very talented up front. And they got guys like Charlie McAvoy on defense. They still got Chara potentially for this year. Boston, I'm a huge Matt Grzelcyk fan as well on defense there. And you still have Tuukka Rask in the net. And good old Halak. I mean, they're splitting games. They're both playing elite tendy. So Boston, number 3. They're not at the top. But yes, Boston will be in the postseason next year. Not a doubt in my mind, unless some crazy injury happens that completely devastates their team. Number 2, this hurts to say, but the Toronto Maple Leafs, I mean, they're good. They're a really good hockey team. Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Morgan Riley. Like, I hate doing this, but yes, the Toronto Maple Leafs are a good hockey team. They lose Tyson Barrie. He didn't really fit in too well with Toronto anyways. I don't think that's a huge loss for them. Frederik Andersen's still there. If Freddie Andersen can just play average goaltending with that offense, Toronto is up at the top. And can they finally win a playoff series? I'm going to go with no. But, hey, you never know. Toronto is still a very good hockey team, and they still will be for a good amount of years. Number 1 in the Atlantic Division, and I have them number 1 in the Eastern Conference. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. It's the defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, they proved it after getting swept by the Blue Jackets in round 1 2 years ago now. Embarrassing. Like, they were setting records, and they followed it up. They answered the call. Nobody was expecting it, but Tampa Bay proved it. And you don't really need to talk much about Tampa. Like Vasilevsky, Hedman, Sergachev, Kucherov, Point, Stamkos. Go down the list. Every single player on that team is fantastic. The depth on the Lightning is unreal. And yeah, Tampa Bay is getting number 1 in the Atlantic, and I don't think that should come to a surprise to anyone. So that's your Atlantic Division. We're going to move on to the Metropolitan, and I'm going to start, at the bottom again and work my way up. So at number 8, I'm going with the New Jersey Devils. I expected a lot of them last year, but they didn't really prove it to me. Like Nikita Gusev, I kind of expected 25, 30 goals from him. Obviously a shortened season and whatnot, but Jack Hughes was not playing like a number 1 overall pick. He'll be better next year, getting into his second year, but New Jersey's offense is not there yet. Defensively, you're still counting on Damon Severson to be your number 1, and goaltending. Now, Mackenzie Blackwood, I'm a fan of Mackenzie Blackwood, but with the team in front of him, New Jersey's not anywhere like in talks for making the playoffs in my mind. Number 7, and I could be very wrong with this one, but I'm going with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they seem to prove me wrong every year. Like, their roster does not look flattering, if I want to put it that way. Like, the trade for Max Domi, very good, and you get him signed, so Domi's there. You lose Josh Anderson, but like bringing in a Max Domi to play, I hope he plays wing. He better not be playing second line center. But like Pierre-Luc Dubois is in there. Still got guys like Nick Foligno. You add a Max Domi to that group. I like their forward core. Defensively, I mean, the 1-2 punch of Jones and Werenski is like fantastic. And then you got 2 goaltenders that you can run, and one of them is going to go to Seattle most likely, unless they make a trade to protect them. But Korpisalo, my goodness, the 5 overtime game, he played unreal. And Merzlikins as well, both goaltenders, proven they are NHL level goaltenders. I don't know if it's enough for the Blue Jackets to make the playoffs again. I could be very wrong. They proved me wrong last year. But for me, I think they're going to take a step back this year. Not saying that I'm not a huge, Blue Jackets fan. I love the Blue Jackets. Like, I would love to see Columbus do well ahead of half of these teams that I have higher than them in the Metropolitan Division. But for me, they take a step back. So we're going to move on to number 6, and I could be very wrong with this, but I'm going with the New York Rangers. Wow, you add Lafreniere, you get Shesterkin to start, you lose Lundqvist, D'Angelo and Fox are re-signed. Defensively, Zibanejad, Panarin, Capo Caco is going to take another step this year. The Rangers are a good team on paper. Can they get it done on the ice? That's my question. I feel like next year to 2 years, this team is a division winner. Once Lafreniere hits he's had a year of NHL play, he can get his feet wet. And for the Rangers, Georgiev backing up Shesterkin. I like the Rangers going, into the future, 2-3 years down the road, just like I like the Senators. But for me, I don't know if the team on paper is good. Can they get it down on the ice is my question. So that's why I have them in at number 6, just missing the second wildcard spot. Second wildcard spot, it's hard to bet against this team. I got the Pittsburgh Penguins. You have guys like Crosby and Malkin and Letang. You can't really bet against them. Jake Gensel is a freaking star. Let me just say that. And you still have guys like Brian Rust. You have a lot of depth on Pittsburgh still. Again, I don't know if it's a division winning type team. We've seen what happened to them in the play-in round of the Canadiens. They got bounced and were in the lottery, honestly, but for Toronto. But they were in the lottery with that pick. Second wild card, they make the postseason. I don't think that should be a shock to anyone, but I don't think Pittsburgh's like top tier Metropolitan anymore. Like they were dominating the Metro for pretty much all of this decade. Number 4, this could be another interesting one. I have the Washington Capitals taking that first wild card spot. Losing Holtby's a big blow, but Samsonov, is he ready to take that step? You got Henrik Lundqvist in there trying to win him a Stanley Cup. He can split games with Samsonov and teach Samsonov how to be that starter. You got like Norris winning caliber defenseman in John Carlson. Like he's right there. I still love Dmitry Orlov. You're solid on the defensive end. And when you have guys like Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Backstrom, Oshie still up front, they're a dangerous team, and they can put the puck in the back of the net. And I think Washington definitely makes the playoffs. Don't know where it is. I don't think it's a top tier team in the Metro though, just like they've been. Like Pittsburgh, Washington 1-2, the last 5-6 years it feels like. But I do think that they both end up making the playoffs. Number 3. The top 3 teams could go in any order, I feel like. But I went with the Philadelphia Flyers for number 3. And for me, Philadelphia proved it last year. I was honestly surprised with how good the Flyers played. Carter Hart, whoo, fantastic young goalie. The future is bright of goaltenders in this league, like Shesterkin, Hart, just continued down the list. Carter Hart is amazing. Then you have Provorov, Gostisbehere. You're good on the defensive end. Up front, you still got guys like Giroux. You got Voracek. You got Sean Couturier, who's criminally underrated. The Flyers are a very good team. They're a force to be reckoned with. They could compete for the top in this Metro division. But I have them falling in at number 3 here for the sake of this video. Number 2, I really hate this team. I'm really not a fan. The bunch of jerks. Carolina. They're a fun team to watch, but I'm not cheering for Carolina. But number 2, very reasonable for them. I mean, their defense has always been like they have 7 NHL caliber defensemen that are like top 4 defensemen. Like Jacob Slavin, fantastic number 1 defenseman. Brett Pesce, just go down the list. Dougie Hamilton, like they're incredibly stacked defensively. And then up front, Sebastian Aho. Andrei Svechnikov is like incredible. You've seen what he could do last year. Teuvo Teravainen, like Elias Lindholm. They are a very good team. I could definitely see Carolina going deep in the playoffs. Could even see them winning the Metropolitan Division here. But for me, they're going to fall into number 2. And that moves us on to the division winner of the Metropolitan. This is probably crazy, but the New York Islanders. Now, they still need to re-sign Matt Barzal, but they'll find a way to get it done. They'll dump some cap and get him locked up. The thing for me with the Islanders is, on paper, they're about an average team. They're about average. Semyon Varlamov in net, okay, average. Defensively, average. Up front, maybe a little bit above average. Barzal, Nelson, Lee, Eberle, etc., Beauvillier. But for me, it's Barry Trotz that pulls this team together. The system that the Islanders play is just, it's amazing. It wins them games. And for me, that's going to be enough to put them ahead of a team like Carolina or Philadelphia and win them that Metropolitan Division. And I like the New York Islanders when it comes to, like for me, like I said, it's Barry Trotz. Barry Trotz does the work for the Islanders. He gets the team to buy in. They all play that system, and the Islanders are a very hard team to beat. They don't give up a lot of goals. As much as their defense is average, their goaltending is average, they don't give up a lot of goals. And when you have an offense with Barzal, Nelson, Lee, etc., they score enough goals to win hockey games. And that's the kind of hockey you need to play if you're going deep in the playoffs. Defense first, offense comes after it. If you put a 0 on the board, you're going to win the hockey game because the other team didn't score on you. So for me, Barry Trotz is a huge contributor to the New York Islanders, and I love what they're doing in Brooklyn out on the island. And for me, the Islanders take first in the Metro. So I'll go over the playoff matchups for the East. I'm going to split this into 2 videos. We'll do the Western Conference later. So for the Eastern Conference playoffs, it would be Tampa Bay winning the Eastern Conference, and the second wild card would be Pittsburgh. So you have the Lightning and the Penguins playing in round number 1. Atlantic 2 and 3 is Toronto, Boston every year, so why not go with it again? The Metro Division winner is the New York Islanders, and the top wild card team is Washington. So you have a rematch of this year's postseason with the Islanders and the Capitals. And 2 and 3 in the Metro would be Carolina and Philadelphia. I think that would be a really fun series to watch, as much as I don't like either team. That would be a very fun series to watch in round number 1. When it comes to that, don't think I'm going to go through all the playoff predictions and predict a cup winner. But, I want to have the playoff matchups for the first round, shown. And, yeah. So that's my Eastern Conference predictions for the next season, whenever it actually gets going. No points, no wins, none of that. I don't know what to expect with that. I just kind of ordered the teams in 1 to 8 based off where I thought they'd finish. And, hey, I'm going to probably be completely wrong. I guarantee not a single one of these is going to be right. That's how it goes when you make a prediction. It's 2020. Everything's gone weird. So, yeah, that's my Eastern Conference predictions for the next NHL season. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and like and share this video with your friends if you guys enjoyed. I will be back with the Western Conference edition of this video probably tomorrow. It'll be up. And yeah, thanks for watching, and make sure to stick around. We'll have a lot more NHL content coming out pretty soon. And yeah, thanks for watching.